Hello, Shifu. Is our constant attention towards the in and out breath considered as applied sustained thought? Uh, so this question about jhana. In the first jhana, there are 5 factors: 寻思, 喜乐, 心意净性. So the 寻思 is oftentimes translated as applied and sustained thought. It's actually 2 parts. So this 寻 and 思, in a way we can say that by right, before a person actually attain jhana, this applied and sustained thought should be practiced already. So can it be considered the attention towards the in-breath? It should be part of it. The attention towards the in-breath should definitely be part of it. Yeah. So first off, it's not natural for us to observe our breath, right? Do you naturally observe your breath? Say no. Of course, no. Yeah. If you naturally observe the breath, like Xiaofang, for example, then she would fall off the escalator. Yeah. So when we meditate, we are in a way doing something unnatural. Yeah. So what is natural for us? It's natural for us to attend to our senses. Natural in the sense that because if you consider the teachings, right, we are born as a human being, yeah, because of our desire towards the senses, yeah, because of our craving for sensual pleasure of the senses. That's why we are born as human. Yeah. The Buddhist teaching on what the Buddha observed is very interesting in terms of causality, cause and effect. We tend to look at the effect and then deduce some result. But the Buddha look at our current state as the effect and then consider the cause, or rather observe the cause. So let me give you an example. We tend to say, oh, because you're a man, so you're like this, or because you're a woman, so you're like this, right? So in many of the teachings, then the Buddha instead see a bigger picture and say, because we are of a certain type, so we are born as men or born as women. Because we are of a certain type, so we are born as a human. Or because we are of a different type, then we are born as a heavenly being. Yeah. And in turn, if we continue to act in a certain way, then we continue to be born as human being. Or now we are born as human being is because we acted in a certain way. Yeah, some good, some bad. Okay. But if we start to act in a rather good way, wholesome way, yeah, but still with attachment, yeah, then we may be born in a higher state, yeah, such as in the heavenly state. But if you are to do wholesome acts, but at the same time train our mind in a certain way, where we apply ourselves, direct our mind towards a certain object, let's say our breath, yeah, or any particular physical objects, yeah, that is conducive for our mind to become quietened, to the point where we are somewhat distant or free from the distractions of the first 5 senses. And momentarily we can do that, and then we lapse again. So each time we lapse, we bring our mind back to the object, and then we anchor our mind to the object. And how do we anchor? By examining the features of the object. And so in the Chinese translation, besides 寻视, 寻视 has this quality of searching. Yeah, the first part is like searching for it, because it's not natural for us to pay attention to the breath. Yeah, I'm sure many of you, when you started meditating, occasionally, don't know where the breath go to. Yeah, why? because we are lost in our thoughts. Yeah, we are more naturally either thinking about the past or the future, or searching for stimulus from the senses. So we need to have some effort to apply our mind to search for our breath. And then after we find a breath, our mind don't naturally like to stay there. Why? You know why? Actually, we all know why, but we know without knowing. Why? Because it's quite boring. Initially, okay? Don't be mistaken. I'm not saying it's always boring. Initially, it's boring. Why? Why is it boring? Nothing happening there. Yeah. When you're out of breath, then we pay attention to our breath. Right? It's just like we don't pay attention to our heart, our chest until we have heart attack. Then we, how come there's feeling here? Then we pay attention. Just like we don't pay attention to our boyfriend or girlfriend until they disappear. Then, what happened to them? But back to the breath. Yeah, so we need to apply effort. Yeah, so in some translation is translated as sustained thought. Yeah, or more correctly, thought may be misinterpreted because thinking is a very gross process. So it's more about attention. Yeah, the mindfulness, the attention towards the breath. But in this case, it has to anchor it. So in the Chinese translation, these two parts, besides 巡视, there's another two words, which is 觉观. Yeah, 觉观. So 觉 is just awareness of it. So just very rough attention to it. Then 观, to actually go and examine it further. Yeah. So in some of the Pali, in the commentary, it also describes that the so-called applied sustained thought has also these two different level of quality. Yeah, one which is just having a brief idea about it. Yeah, to have some brief attention towards the object, in this case the breath. Then the second layer has a more detailed examination. Oh. So just because you do this doesn't mean you have first jhana. But just now I mentioned this is linked to the first jhana. Why? Because if you continue to do this again and again, then our so-called natural tendency is actually more our habitual tendency to drift, that our mind is restless. Yeah, our mind is restless, likes to move around, not satisfied with just one thing. Our mind has this tendency. And why? Actually, it's again, as I said, because our mind was restless in the past life, so born this way. If we manage to train ourselves now, then future life different. Yeah. We don't have to look into future life. If you have one restless day, the next day very likely continue to be restless, unless you end the day reflecting, thinking, oh yeah, what a waste the day is. Then the next day, maybe your mind continue to be slightly restless, but you are inclining away from restlessness. Many people think, how do we know future life? You just observe closely your mental state from one day to the next day to the next day. You can see the links. Or if we go further, you observe your mind from moment to moment, from hour to hour, minute to minute, second to second, moment to moment. You know that you will know that it is not just suddenly boom. Yeah. So if in this life you manage to repeatedly do this practice, yeah, this practice cannot be hastened. You cannot say, oh, I do 3,000 intensity, 3,000% intensity. Then within 1 second, 10 jhana. No, cannot. Yeah. The best analogy I can think of to to share with you is, it's like a car, okay? If you are driving a car and you are going at a certain speed, the higher the speed, the greater the momentum. That means the potential to continue to move. If you want to stop, in this case, the movement represents the discursive thoughts, yeah, the narrative, the chatter, hello, 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 yeah, in our mind. If you want to stop, can you just jam brake? Can, you can. Who say cannot? You can jam brake, you try lor. What happened? Will the car just says, oh, like that? Yeah. Have you ever seen a car? No, the cars don't do that. When you jam brake, you're yeah. And that's why sometimes students, they come and report to us, hey, Shifu, how come if I don't meditate, like, if I don't apply effort, the sitting is quite okay. The moment I apply effort, oh, I headache. Why? Because the momentum is still there. So you think that you can just apply more effort, force it. If it's moderate, it's still okay. But if it's too strong, then your body cannot take it. Yeah. So if you look at various sutra and various teachings by the masters, and if you meditate yourself, you know that this momentum takes time to slow down. Yeah, you need your effort. It's not that you just sit there, take time, then you'll just slow down. No, you also need to apply effort. But after applying effort, it still takes time to slow down. Yeah, you just got to wear it down. The Buddha used the analogy of a cow, right? You all know the analogy. I didn't go through detail. So it takes time before the cow gets tired. The cow is our wandering mind. So you give it some time. That's why we need to meditate every day. And even every day, you don't think, wow, I meditate 1 hour a day. I'm very super, I'm super practitioner. No, because 24 hours a day, we only meditate one hour. I know some of you meditate 4-5 hours a day. Have or not? But let's say for most of you, 1 hour a day is tremendous. So for the rest of the 15 hours that you're awake, we are not awake 24 hours, right? Let's ignore the 6 hours that we sleep, 8 hours that we sleep, okay? So average, we have around 16 hours left. If it's 16 hours, that means you sleep 8 hours. Thereabout, don't pick on the details. 1 hour meditate, 15 hours run all over the place, right? So when we run all over the place, what are we doing? We're also cultivating. We're also applying, practicing applied and sustained thought, except that we are applying and sustaining our thought on our handphone, on our family and friends, on our work, on money, yeah, on our projects, yeah, advertising project planning, right? Yeah, on everything, on people that we like, people we don't like, we also apply and sustain thought there. So by the time when we want to meditate and apply sustained thought onto the breath, there is a bit of momentum left from yesterday. Yeah, but a lot of momentum thinking about all these things that happened in the past because we put in a lot more effort. So that momentum also there. Yeah. Also, this apply and sustain thought towards the breath can be seen in this way. So Sifu, these habits are attributed by the teens. So we are changing the teens. So we can say that it's the teens. There are many terms that is used by the Buddha in the teachings. So there's teens, there's defilements, there's tendencies, habitual tendencies, and so on. They are roughly talking about the same thing. Yeah, but the Buddha used different terms for different categories, yeah, including factors, bondage, yeah, so to describe various aspects of all these qualities. Yeah, so we can say that the habits are attributed by the teens. Yeah, or we can say that the habits are so-called built up over time through each time we act. Each time we act, it leaves an imprint. It creates it is a momentum. Yeah, using modern terms, we can say it's a momentum. Using more traditional terms, we say it's a habitual tendency. Right? Momentum is physics. Yeah. So the momentum or the habitual tendency that we cultivate more is driven by our taints, right? Yeah, because we agree with the defilements, we agree with the unwholesome thoughts, yeah, unwholesome states, then we go along. The more we go along, the stronger it becomes. Yeah, but we can decide once in a while. No, I don't want. Yeah, but if we do it long enough, then this habit lose momentum and it grinds to a gradual rest. Not stop yet, gradual rest. Why? Because we still have the karmic seeds, which is just dormant. Yeah, the dormant tendency towards the senses. And that's why the Buddha saw for himself that even if you go beyond the 4 jhanas to the 4 formless states, concentration, that is even more refined. But all you get is, after you die, you get reborn in the formless realm. And that is still not the end, because you're just grinding the habits to a rest. Yeah, the tendency is still latent. Yeah, and that rebirth, once it wear out, because we are now, instead of going along with the tendency to go towards the senses, now you're planting new seeds. Each time you meditate, you're also planting new seeds. Yeah, new seeds that is tending towards rest state. Yeah, where the mind is not grabbing towards the 5 senses, but the mind is still grabbing towards something. So this tendency ripen as a rebirth in the formless realm. But this also has momentum. Yeah. And once the momentum wear out, then you take rebirth again. What rebirth? Whatever momentum is dormant, waiting only. Yeah. And that's why ultimately in Buddhism, the Buddha saw that there's no end to this. Yeah. No matter whatever concentration you practice, yeah, formless concentration, yeah, you get very deep samadhi, very high jhana, and so on. Yeah, but all this considered wholesome, okay, not to be mistaken about it, but still tainted. Wholesome but tainted. Why? Because you are still not free of the wrong view of a self. So that's why we keep on highlighting, don't just meditate quietening the mind. You must learn Dharma to uproot the wrong view of a self. Yeah, otherwise, all this is just temporal. The lifespan you get from such a momentum is very long, very long. Yeah, but at some point it's still finite, and then still end, and then you still take rebirth. Yeah, so in the ultimate state is to be free of this cycle. So that should answer the question. So are we changing the taints? We are changing the habits. Because taints requires the uprooting of the ignorance. Because the way the Buddha used the word that it has been translated to taints. Not that the Buddha used the word taint. The Buddha didn't speak English, right? But the term, yeah, that the Buddha used that is commonly translated as taints, yeah, is linked to ignorance. So when we meditate, we don't directly wear out ignorance. We are just grinding the habits of the discursiveness, the restlessness to a standstill, just to a rest point. It still have that momentum. It's just latent. Taints require wisdom to eradicate. Okay. This is a good question. Because otherwise, we sit. We also don't know why we are sitting sometimes. Yeah. But better than nothing. One is totally don't sit. Another one is sit with clear clarity and progressing. The other one is people sit, you also sit. People sit no, you sit don't know. Yeah. And sometimes people, when they know that they don't know, then they feel disheartened. Then they're like, yeah, but I cannot sit with clear knowing. Like, then I might as well not sit. Don't think in this way. At least you sit, don't know. It's still better than don't sit. Yeah. Don't be mistaken. Sifu compare, oh, 1 hour and you have 15 hours of running all over the place. Then what Sifu is criticizing, saying, how come you don't sit 8 hours? Don't think in that way. I'm not saying that. You must remember, yes, just sitting 1 hour is inferior compared to like the very serious practitioner practice for 5 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. But it's still better than the 0 hour. And don't feel like, oh, actually this group supposed to sit 1 hour. I only come in for 15 minutes. I only come in for half an hour. Don't worry. There's always someone lesser than you. Yeah, you come for 15 minutes. I tell you, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Yeah, I don't know who come in for 5 minutes, but I want you to feel comfortable. Even last minute, 7:29, then you turn on your handphone. Then quickly, just observe your breath for 1 minute. Okay. Benny's going off. So we also have to go off. Bye-bye. 愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿得智慧真明了，
愿得智慧真明了。
普愿罪障悉消除，
普愿罪障悉消除，
世世常行菩萨道。
世世常行菩萨道。
阿弥陀佛。
阿弥陀佛。
Till we meet again, may be guided and protected by the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And as always,
乖乖。
All right. Take care. Have a calm day ahead.
Thank you, Sư Phụ.
Bye bye. Stay safe.
阿弥陀佛。